Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are coming live to you from our Prague offices. I'm going to share my screen and we will jump right in. The topic today is monetizing hospitality data and applications. And let's get into the agenda. So we are going to talk all about what is embedding analytics for data monetization. We're going to go through two demos. One is quite out of the box, very simple and quick time to value. And then the other one is quite on the customized side. And then we're going to go through 4 case studies at the end. It's nice to meet you all. In case I haven't met you before, I'm Greta Brauer, Director of Product Strategy and Marketing here at GoodData. I'm based in Chicago. And with me today, we have Maria. Hey, Maria.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Maria. So Maria's going to come in and show the demos. So she'll kind of pop in a little bit later in our session. Okay, just a few logistical considerations. You are muted on entry. So if you have a question, please send it through the Zoom Q&A box. And then after the webinar, all of the recording will be compiled and all the questions, and it will be sent out in an email for you to reference after the fact. Okay, so a little bit about GoodData in case you aren't too familiar with us. So we are, in essence, a BI and analytics platform. We've been around since 2015, based in San Francisco, but have a very heavy presence in Europe with several millions of users across the globe. GoodData products are often white labeled, and so it's likely you've used our tool, but you didn't even know it because it was branded as if it's one of our customers. At GoodData, we have 4 key differentiating areas, I would say, but they all kind of wrap up into this very complex, scalable, automated analytics support that we provide. So we're obviously an analytics and now AI provider. You can do everything from very basic out of the box through customized, like you'll see today. We also consider ourselves developer first, meaning we have, as it says on the screen, declarative APIs and an SDK. And we also are very proud of the fact that just about everything in our platform you can do through the UI, but you could also do as code, which is really great for governance, traceability, scale, automation, all of that to integrate with CI/CD and things like that your developers will care about. The other thing is we have a very strong semantic layer. You could consider us a headless BI vendor because you define your metrics one time in the semantic layer, add all of your business logic and relationships, and then you can use that information anywhere. And those last two components I mentioned kind of contribute to our scalability. So you can deploy in our cloud on AWS and coming soon at Azure, or you can deploy on your own virtual private cloud on-prem, really anywhere Kubernetes could be hosted. Okay, so we primarily have 2 types of customers. The one is complex internal analytics implementations that require a multi-tenant architecture, meaning we have a customer in either internally or externally, they're trying to kind of manage the distribution of analytics to different users called tenants. Typically, that's an internal use case. What we're going to talk about today is what's on the right, the B2B data products use case. And many of our customers are data product vendors that create their own analytical data products for their customers and want essentially a toolkit to give them all of the pieces and data tools to create data products efficiently and at scale. The box here on the bottom in pink, I'll just mention quickly, and you're going to hear about this more later. One of our referenceable customers, Muse, we actually were just at the Gartner Analytics Summit earlier this week in London and did a joint presentation with them on the topic we're here to talk to you about today. And Muse does exactly this. They have hotel customers and provide them with all kinds of analytics and insights that are embedded right into their hotel management platform to provide added value. And that in turn for them creates an additional revenue stream. And there's actually a recap we did from the Gartner Analytics Summit that you can find on our LinkedIn if you're interested in hearing more from them. Okay, so why consider insights monetization, and why are analytics so complex for hospitality companies, or really any other industry that has complex data needs like insurance, SaaS tools, financial, marketing agencies, and so on. This information could really be applicable to a number of industries where we just happen to be focusing on hospitality today. So the hospitality industry, meaning hotels, restaurants, like many other industries, faces significant data challenges and kind of market forces and complexities. These organizations have a lot of data sources. They have guest preference data, room occupancy, special offers and packages, hotel operation systems, POS systems serving all different parts of the property. You can think like different restaurants or maybe a spa. The front desk all have POS systems. They have loyalty programs, things like parking, things like local events that they want to account for and impact the occupancy and opportunities for rate changes at a property. So each of these items that I mentioned generate a vast amount of data and create challenges for hotel operators. This is compounded by the items on the right, and the ... meaning these are basically limitless, right? The market forces like changes in labor availability, the fact that managing this large amount of data is seen as a cost center. There's general rising costs. We all know that. There's real-time data requirements. There's high guest expectations, and the list goes on and on. I'll give you a very simple example of this complexity that a client of ours recently shared. There is the typical scenario of getting breakfast at the hotel before heading out for the day, right? So say that particular day, the guest is checking out. And so they eat breakfast at the hotel restaurant that's right across from the lobby. And then they charge that breakfast to their room. And then they go directly to the front desk and check out. Their profile needs to be updated that quickly in the time that it takes for them to check out to get to the front desk. Otherwise, they're going to miss out on collecting that breakfast payment if one was required. And then it's going to be a less than optimal experience to try to follow up with them and collect it after the fact. And so, in summary, these hospitality companies need one platform that can consolidate all of this data, give them all of the insights they need in real time or very near real time, embedded right alongside the management tools they already use to manage all of their locations. Okay, so what can a hospitality company do, or tech providers that support hospitality companies do with timely and scalable analytics? First, they can better plan and deploy resources. They can optimize for nightly rates and include special offers. They can increase customer satisfaction, find new opportunities proactively instead of waiting to see that there's an influx on a particular weekend. They can know there's a special event happening and plan accordingly. And they can predict the best areas to invest in. But navigating these complexities is essential for delivering top guest experiences and operational effectiveness. So you can support your hospitality teams by providing them with analytics. And if you're a hospitality company, to better prove and measure the value you provide to the business, this gives you measurable outcomes to kind of make your point and be seen less as a cost center. And then if you're a technology provider, you can create a monetized analytics solution for them to consume all of this information. And that is precisely what we're going to show you today. Okay, I want to touch on this slide that just shows not only do you have the typical dashboards, charts, self-service, drag and drop data modeling, but you also have all of these other endpoints on the right. Like I said earlier, you not only can just do the native GoodData BI, you can connect to other BI tools. You can embed into other applications. You could, if you wanted to, provide direct SQL access to your teams against the semantic layer. You could provide packaged data feeds or Jupyter notebooks, depending on the skill set of the team. You can integrate into other applications through our APIs. We also integrate with one of the leading business process automation tools so that your customers can also use this to take action. And then we are also incorporating ML and AI right in the platform, for instance, scenario modeling, forecasting, and customer cluster analysis capabilities. And what that can do for you is basically provide this tiered approach that many of our customers take on, where there's different levels of an offering provided. Maybe at the lowest level, it's just readable dashboards or maybe just some simple drag and drop self-service tools. And then it's priced accordingly at a lower level. And then maybe the next level, you can layer on connection to other BI tools that maybe they have in-house or embedding into some operational application that they already own. And then at the very top feature, maybe to appeal to data scientists or some other particular persona in the organization, you could provide something like direct SQL access, the ML and AI capabilities, notebook integration, data feeds, and so on. This is just kind of inspirational, but is taken from a customer who's doing something very, very similar. And all of this, importantly, is managed through what we call our inheritance model. We have what's called basically a workspace parent-child relationship model, where you define all of your assets, all of your data at the parent level, and then basically it's pushed down to child levels, and all of the metrics, visualizations, everything essentially in the workspace environment is inherited by those children. And you can see here on the screen that up top we've got some graphics and we have a certain look and feel. And then you can see down here when these assets are pushed out to the child environments, they look very differently. So even things like custom formatting can be applied to these child workspaces. And then the children workspaces, who might represent a team in your organization or a customer or a partner, they can then augment the content up to the amount that you allow with their own additional metrics or visualizations, et cetera. So this model makes it very easy to maintain for you as the environment administrator. And it also allows you to provide varied experiences to different teams or customers based on their needs or preferences or the tier that they fall into in your monetization model. All right, and what can you embed? So pretty much anything. Just to give you a simple example here, this is a dashboard in GoodData. You could embed an entire dashboard into some other portal. You could embed individual metrics, or you could embed individual visualizations and combine them any which way you wish with formatting to create a very customized portal if you wish. And the technical embedding options, we have iframe, that's pretty standard, and I guess at this point a little bit old school, you might say. We also have web components. Our biggest differentiator is our React option. That's the most modern and gives you the most customization flexibility options, and it's something that we do different from other embedding vendors. All right, some other benefits of the GoodData platform for this application. I'm just going to run down this list very quickly. It's a lot of text, but updates are pushed automatically. So that means when a metric's changed or data is flowing through, that gets automatically pushed down to the child workspaces, as I just explained. That's pretty cool. You also get, when you embed full functionality of the visualization. So if you set up a filter or a drill path, that is automatically functionality that exists when that piece of content is embedded, which is pretty awesome. I already mentioned everything is manageable by code. This also helps for scalability. You can take action. Like I said, we do integrate with business process automation tool. I think they're the leading tool, Zapier. We also have scenario forecasting where you can adjust and apply strategies. You'll see some of that in the demo today. The next one is all about how we make the platform super, super easy for even end consumers who don't have a lot of technical detail. Now, this conflicts with what I just said with manageable as code, but that's the administrator who's doing that. That's someone who has a technical skill set. End users, we don't necessarily expect to have that level of skill set. So they'd be interacting through the UI, clicking with their mouse, doing drag and drop activities, applying filters, things like that. They don't need to know any bit of code. And lastly, for those more technical personas, we have APIs and SDKs. So virtually any application that you have today that you want to integrate with, or likely any that you acquire in the future, all of the big ones we integrate with seamlessly. Okay, so we're going to get into the demos and I'll bring Maria in just a second here. But before we do that, I just kind of want to queue up what you will be seeing. So I mentioned we're going to be doing 2 demos. They kind of span this spectrum from something that she threw together really quickly, just straight out of the box. I don't even think it took her probably more than an hour, a couple hours or whatever. It has no customization whatsoever, no formatting, just very, very simple. And it's going to show a hospitality dashboard that has some filtering and drilling capabilities. She will demonstrate how the parent-child relationship works, how content can be pushed from the parent to the child, and how the children see just the slice that they're supposed to see based on the security settings. And then also the maintenance works between the environments. And then the last thing she's going to demonstrate is the quickest, easiest 1-minute embedding functionality. So that's on one side of the spectrum. That's like the easy button option. On the way other side of the spectrum, we have very highly formatted data products, as we like to call them. These are highly customized applications that source data and or visualizations from GoodData and publish them to this portal through a React SDK. You'll see some AI and ML components, including insights, forecasts, and the ability to apply recommendations based on what the forecast is telling you. Also, some smart search and AI chatbot capabilities. So Maria, I'll invite you to jump on and give the demo.
Perfect. Thank you for the intro. So let's get started. Perfect. I think now you can see my screen, and as Greta mentioned, here we have the parent workspace where I'm going to define all my main configurations. So my logical data model, metrics, visualizations, and dashboards. And within the dashboards, I can also define some drilling capabilities. So drilling into another dashboard or drilling into a visualization. And this is going to be automatically propagated to my child. So again, this is the parent workspace. But then when we move to the child workspace, you will see that I have exactly the same definition, but in this specific case, I have 2 differences. The first one is the data that I have available. So here in this workspace, I have a data filter that is limiting the access to have only London related data. And the second one is that this user only has view capabilities. So they're able to have a full dashboard experience, so they can still do the drilling, they can still do cross filtering, they can still play around with all the predefined filters, but they won't be able to customize anything that comes from the parent. So the dashboards, the metrics, they all remain the same. They don't have the space for the customization. But then let's go to our Chicago dashboard, where you will see that it also looks a bit different. And this is because we have here an edit view. So this user has access to a child workspace, but they can actually make changes on top of it. So everything that comes from the parent will have this lock. And this basically means that they are not able to make changes on top of it, but what they can do is create copies. So I can go ahead, save as new. And okay, I created my dashboard, and now I can actually add new stuff on top of it. So let's go ahead and make some changes. So let me add another headline. Okay, so here I have the average revenue, and I can just go ahead, maybe change the formatting of this value. Okay, let's apply it. And once you save it, you will see it's going to be available directly on your dashboard. You don't have to make any additional changes. You save it. And from now on, this child workspace will have this additional visualization on the dashboard. But again, the changes that they make there are not going to reflect the parent workspace in any way. So as you can see, my parent workspace remains the same. It's only available on the child workspace. But then all the changes that happen on the parent are going to automatically reflect on the child. So let's also add a new visualization here. Let's do this one. Let's go ahead and save it, and let's again check our child workspace. Now you see that the changes are automatically propagated, again, because of the workspace hierarchy that we have available. And I think Greta mentioned all the embedding capabilities. So let's say if you want to take these visualizations out of the GoodData UI and embed inside of your own application, you can use one of our embedding options. So we put something together very quickly just to give you some idea of how this looks like. So here at the top, you see the iframe option. So the iframe is the simplest way for you to embed, but there are some limitations on the parameters that you want to make it available. So let's say if you want to restrict some of the buttons to be hidden, so even at the menu of the dashboards, you can pick and choose, but there are other customizations that are not possible through iframe. So yeah, this is the dashboard. And as you can see, you still have all the drilling capability as you have on the UI, the GoodData UI. So we can actually click here. Everything remains the same, but the only difference is that you could have that directly on your application. The other option that Greta mentioned was the React SDK. And within the React SDK, you have plenty of room for customization. Because in the React SDK, you have access to our metadata definition. So the insights, the metrics, the facts, the labels, everything that you define in GoodData can be directly called using this React SDK. In this case, I'm using here a visualization that I created in GoodData. But if you want something from scratch, you can also call the data points. So and the second option, I'm actually getting the locations and the occupancy rate. These values comes from GoodData, but then it's displayed in a custom table. And even if you want to have a very customized way to display your data, you also have this flexibility with the React SDK. Again, here I have data coming from the React SDK using the metadata definition, but then I'm displaying it using Charts.js. And I think that's the main part when it comes to embedding. Now we are going to walk through the second option that Greta mentioned, and this is a data product using the GoodData SDKs and APIs. So let's jump right into it. And here you have, let's say you are a hotel manager and you get notification regarding one of your KPIs. Then once you open it, you will have your dashboard with the overview performance of your hotel, but you also have an AI assistant that it's going to not only give you an overview, but also give you some recommendations of what you could do next. So for in this case, I have here some possible approaches, but I want some additional information and it's going to give me some tips of what I could do. But let's go ahead and create our own strategy. In this scenario, I have a couple of possibilities of what I could, which approach I could take. So I could stay in the current approach. I could actually do something more conservative, and I could also do something more dynamic. And as you can see, every time you choose a different option, the parameters change and the data is going to be displayed according to the choice you made. So now when we go ahead and apply the changes, now you're going to have a couple of recommendations of what you could do based on the choice you made. So that's it for the demo. I will hand it over to Greta.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for the demo. That was really great. I will just share my screen again so we can wrap this up. So to close out, we're going to talk about a couple case studies. We have 4 of them that kind of demonstrate, they're all in the hospitality space, and they kind of demonstrate a little bit of a different flavor and take on how they're using good data to all monetize their analytics. So the first is actually a company called Forth. Forth has a portal in which they provide operational and cost control insights for mostly very large restaurant groups, ones that you all have heard of. And they provide data about scheduling, employee retention, HR management and payroll, and other functions, operational functions. We've been working with them for many years. And as you can see on screen, they've had pretty incredible results on showing ROI and payback. The GoodData integration was a revenue stream for them. They have it as an upsell on other capabilities they offer. And importantly, you can see here, they have an extremely high customer retention rate. We just love working with them, and they're doing really cool things. So this is an interesting implementation. The next is something called Grapevines. Grapevines is a company that they provide a beverage sales platform that has sales execution data. They have, key account development, order entry, brand, and program activations. They have sales team objectives and more. It actually consolidates data from Nielsen, so industry benchmarking data from Nielsen, plus Salesforce data, and other internal data sources via GoodData. And with it, they provide a license to GoodData that's then used by their customers, so externally, but those customers are logging into GoodData. They have very personalized content that they offer, and it's a pretty interesting use case. The next one is Technomic. Technomic is an SME in the food service industry. They actually put out their own research and B2B tools for research and for consuming research. They have both out-of-the-box dashboarding and also some custom developed content. And their content delivers insights around trends, location data, and brand tracking. To distribute their research, they decided to work with us to aggregate all of their data and provide analytics for specifically more technical team members. They've had incredible cost savings results. And again, it's just another really cool success story related to hospitality. Okay, and lastly is Muse. I mentioned them earlier in this session. Muse provides a very robust revenue management platform. That's one of their core offerings for hospitalities, primarily hotels, also restaurants. And they embed good data content into that management tool, so customers don't need to go elsewhere for their analytics. They have a lot of customers and are growing quite quickly, and recently hit unicorn status with their funding. So we're really proud of them. And they're very forward thinking and being extremely thoughtful about how to incorporate some of the AI tools to provide better customer experiences. You can see some of the stats on screen here. So that's it from us today. Thank you for attending. I hope that this was relevant to you either as someone who works in hospitality, as a technical provider to hospitality companies, or maybe you're in kind of an adjacent industry and you can pick up how these insights and monetization options apply to your own industry and use cases. So what's next? You can find us. We've got a few things going on here. First is a GoodData meetup. It's in our Prague office in conjunction with DuckDB. It's all about how we integrate with DuckDB and why we're kind of a match made in heaven, and you can use us together. We'll also be at a couple conferences coming up, both in San Francisco, Snowflake, June 3rd through 6th, and then the following week, June 10th through 13th. So if you're in San Francisco the first half of June, definitely connect with us. We'll want to get together. You can try all of this out by signing up for GoodData Labs. Labs is our environment where we have more of our experimental features. And so if you scan this QR code, you can register, we'll approve your registration, and you can get in there right away and try for 30 days. And then lastly, of course, follow us on social media for more updates about sessions like this. We're posting a lot of content, especially on LinkedIn, but we also just introduced Instagram. If you want to know, day in the life at GoodData, follow us there. And Yeah. Thanks everyone for attending the webinar today, and thanks Maria for the demos.
Thank you.
Thanks.